All right, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. We are back with our second round of Retell AI, N8N, and High Level. For anybody that didn't watch the previous episode, I recommend you do because we did go over everything that has to do with Retell, N8N, and High Level. Actually, and believe it or not, High Level, Chase confirmed that Well, you told us already too, Mario, so it wasn't a big secret, but the new backend for voice AI is going to be under Retell for High Level, and super important. So everybody, welcome to Vibe Fridays. I think we're going to come up with like a little slogan or a song at this point. And what we're going to be doing today is, again, we promised you a couple things. We're going to go out and build Retell, N8N, and High Level, how it all kind of interconnects. We are also going to be giving you guys the recipe of how to do this inside of N8N. And again, we are only going to post this on the actual show. So don't ask us for the link because if you miss the show, you miss the link. So we'll make sure you guys do that. And as always, I have my lovely guest, Mario, who's coming in from his sun-filled room with the biggest light I've ever seen in my life. Now, see, if he's under a shade, there he is. So funny enough, Mario, congratulations. You just moved. And you're loving your new pad. But apparently, your new pad does not come with curtains, and the sun is making you blind.
Oh man! And you think it's bad on the camera? Imagine what it's doing to my eyes right now, looking at a screen, being blinded by sunlight. Like that's how much I love you, dude.
Well, I mean, me and everybody else that's coming on this call to learn, right? So, I mean, everybody, to Mario's own detriment, he came on this call bearing the massive sun that's coming into his face right now to give us a hand. So, Mario, I'm going to kind of, if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you. Just kind of go over what we're going to go over today. And can you also confirm what I meant by how High Level's new base for voice AI is going to be on the Retell AI? Like, what does that mean? Like, for the common person that doesn't really understand anything we're saying.
Yeah, so High Level, as everyone knows, is really a combination of platforms and services, some built by High Level, some are third party, like you have Twilio, Mailgun, things like that. So the voice AI product specifically is a reskin and white label of Retell. Now, what that means is that your customers, because it's integrated directly into the platform, don't know that it's High Level and don't know that it's Retell. So they just think they got this amazing voice AI product included in their subscription. And that's really how it works. To answer Bev's question, if you start using Retell today, you will not be able to migrate it to High Level. High Level has a very specific special integration with Retell. So it's going to have some features and some things maybe that Retell doesn't. And Retell is also going to have some features and things that maybe High Level doesn't. So there is
but to be clear, right? Just to kind of interrupt here a little bit, to be clear, it's still going to be the same base program that's going to be working the AI, right?
Yes, correct.
Which means that if you guys have been hearing what we've been putting down for the last 2 weeks on Retell is one of the top actual AI systems that we really think is going to be really good. So that's another reason why, again, we're talking about it, why Mario's going to go over it, because there's a really good marriage point between N8N, Retell, and High Level. And again, we have the genius of Mario that's going to basically show you guys how to do it. So if you decide to go through Retell or if you decide to keep it in High Level, either way is good. But this way makes it a very advanced, because then you're taking advantage of both features. You're taking advantage of the full-fledged features inside of High Level, and you're taking the full-fledged features inside of Retell. And you're using N8N to kind of be the little marrying component in between. And Mario is also going to share the recipe a little bit later on, so then you don't have to do all the work. So the recipe you do see is going to be the recipe you actually, you guys can actually download once we put the barcode up. So when we put that barcode up, make sure you guys get your cameras out so you can get that file and you can keep it for yourselves for anybody using N8N. So without further ado, Mario, are we ready to share screens and get rocking and rolling? I know you're super tired. Your sun's glaring on your face. You might melt before this call is over. And we want to make sure we get that going.
No, it's all good, brother. It's all good. Yeah, so you are good to go ahead. And I'm actually, just give me 2 seconds. I am just going to finish uploading that right here.
And while Mario's doing that, again, remember, everybody that was watching, watched last episode that we had on Vibe Fridays. And then more importantly, this one's a continuation of it. And if this gets too complex about like the way he's building it, just remember we are going to give you the recipe on this call and only on this call. So don't ask for the link. It's somewhere in this video. If you can't find it, like don't ask for it. Again, the fact that he's giving this is something he's poured like 60 hours plus two. This is something normally we would charge like a couple $1,000s to do. So, you know, I was making it very easy for you. We're not. We're going to make it a little hard. So search it through the video because we want you to watch a part of the video so you can fully understand what the heck you're doing. And then if you get to the end, the barcode will be somewhere in this video. I promise you that. All right. So Mario, are we good? And then, yeah, let's just get that going.
Cool.
All right. And I'll handle all the chat. So if you guys have questions, you can go ahead and do, and we can go from there.
All right. So in Retell, if you remember last week, we set up a webhook action that is coming into N8N. Once it gets to N8N, that's the part we're going to cover today. So if you missed last week, go back and watch last week. That's where we covered adding the webhook action into Retell. What we need to do now is process that data. So I just want to walk you through kind of the steps. So we have our webhook node here. What you're going to do is you're going to copy this production URL over into Retell. You're going to put that in the server URL, which is what we showed you last week, in that node that is a custom action. From there, we've got some different processing steps. So we're going to set, this is the first step you need to set. You're going to need to set your calendar ID and your location ID. These are the two main fields that you need to set for this entire scenario. Pretty much every single field after that, there are a couple things like the location ID that you need to swap out. But what it does is it sets the initial variables. It searches for the contact. So what we want to do is we're searching the contact by phone number. So once we search the contact by phone number, we're going to see whether or not they exist. Now they should exist because we somehow had them in the CRM to call Retell, right? So we know that their phone number exists in the CRM. So it's going to pop up with one or many records. It's going to take the first record out of that. It's then going to get the calendar's information. Now, this step is super critical because this step contains a lot of information around your appointment duration. It contains information around the buffer times, what your, how long they can book out. Like all those different pieces are contained in this calendar step. So super critical step that you have here. Again, you know, this is really probably these two or these three steps. 4 steps are some of the most important ones. Where it gets a little bit special is where we get into the determining if US or Canada, and then looking up time zones. So these scripts in here that we have here with all of these different area codes, now this scenario will only work if they are a US-based entity. This will not work for inbound or outbound calling on foreign entities. I can help you with that script on a separate call. That's totally fine. But it is something that right now this one is configured for US specifically. So what it's going to do is it's going to look up their time zone. It's going to determine what their time zone is and what the offset is and what the current hours are. So you have all this information in here, and it's basically based on their area code. It will set their time zone. It does some steps with determining whether or not daylight savings time is active. So I don't know, Nuno, how much you know about like time zones and DS or EST versus EDT. But
no, I know that. So ironically enough, we actually have an open issue right now, an open ticket inside of Highlevel where our customers are coming in at a certain time. It's time stamping them with their time zone, and it looks like the email is going out 4 hours later, but it's really not. We're in our time zone, they're in their time zone, and now Highlevel's given us 2 times, and the times are really the same time, but it's 2 separate things. It does create a little bit of an issue there, and when it comes to voice AI can only really operate in one time zone, which is what he's solving for right here, and what we don't have a natural solve for inside of GHL, at least for now. So it does get a little bit cranky in that sense, where all of a sudden you think you're booking in one time zone, but you're actually booking in a time zone. and it does make it a little bit challenge for that. But again, you're going to get this recipe. This two things alone, the set area code, well, three, right? The set area code, the lookup, and the determine DST inactive or not. This is probably worth its weight in gold. And I mean, probably literal gold, because the amount of coding that it takes to get all that and all the numbers that he had to list in the time zone, you guys are going to be getting that later on. And that's going to be in the coding and all that already. So that code itself is already worth like the price of admission for this video, if you guys decide to go with Retell and connecting N8N and Highlevel.
Yep, and the determined time slots is actually probably the even more valuable one. So what it does now is it performs some date transformations. This is to be compatible with Highlevel's API. It gets all of the free slots. Now what happens is, let's say that you have 2 weeks of availability, right? And you ask Highlevel for what availability do you have on the calendar? It simply dumps every time that you have available in that time window, even in 24 hours. If you're booking in 15-minute increments,
Oof.
That's like 100 different values, right? So what I've done is I've actually written a simple, not a very simple, but a script that goes through and determines the most relevant time that is potentially the most relevant time that's potentially close to when that customer wants to book. So this one is a super special code card. It then does some field manipulation just to standardize that, and it sends it back to Retell. So this is the basics of the scenario. It is a lot simpler than it seems. Once you get into it, you can realistically deploy this scenario, and as long as in the search contact, set initial variables, get calendar, and get free slots, that you set the appropriate location ID and calendar IDs, the whole scenario should just function. So, Nuno, did you get a copy of that in the private chat?
I did. So what we're going to do is we're now going to share this recipe. So for anybody that is on, as long as I can get to it, maybe I didn't. Oh, we're just kidding. You're not going to get anything. No, I'm just. There we go. So this is the actual recipe, the Retell N8N recipe. So everybody on, make sure you guys are getting it right up here. It's going to be on the top left. So anybody that's there now, if you want to get this N8N recipe to run Retell, make sure you do it now. So for everybody watching, this will actually show up on the live. So again, you'll have to go through there and grab that recipe as you guys see fit. Now, Mario, a couple of questions, right? So let's just think about how this actually works, because I'm still a little confused, right? I get a call inside of GHL. GHL then sends a webhook out for an incoming call. That webhook is what we just saw here, right? It comes into N8N. Well, how does the conversation start? Like, how does that work?
So they call the Retell phone number.
Okay.
The Retell phone number picks up, and then the Retell phone number is what answers the voice AI. It then communicates with N8N, and N8N communicates back to Retell, and then it books it inside Highlevel. The actual booking function is another part of that same scenario. It's just 2 steps. It's literally just like.
So all we're grabbing inside of GHL is the calendar.
Exactly. The calendar and the contact information.
Perfect. So this recipe is for somebody using Retell, where the call is going directly into Retell, the bot's engaging, asking questions, doing whatever it's prompted to do. When it comes to the point of getting the calendar inside a Highlevel, this is what the Retell recipe that, again, Mario busted his butt on, that you now have access to. In there, it's got all those calculations and everything else, and it goes through. Now, Bev asked a great question. Wouldn't this recipe generally work for other use cases, not just Retell, with just a few?
Absolutely.
It would. So that whole calculation pretty much would. So we're grabbing, well, actually everything, right? Except the webhook.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So anybody using any kind of AI that you want to go ahead and use a webhook to go into and grab the calendars, you guys just got a pretty decent thing in there. Now, again, the reason this is important for everybody that's watching is, look, we are massively huge fans, obviously, of GHL. GHL, like every other software out there, is going to have a couple of limitations, especially when it comes to AI. AI, depending on which the AI is always going to have a bit of limitations. The other thing that I will tell you, when I was first working at Capital One, and like when we had like over, we were building softwares and we were having projects, understand that there's a pretty big error rate that's acceptable. And in the normal corporate world, 3 to 5% error rate is the normal thing. When it comes to AI, the hallucinations and the mistakes are a little higher, man. They're like in the 10 to 20%, and you're dancing around that almost every day. So whether you're selling this to a customer or whether you're actually, doing this for yourself, always understand that there's going to be a higher error rate with the AI than there would be with the normal, like, let's just say automation, right? Now, here's the thing. The other thing that you guys got to understand is a human has a higher error rate than the AI, because the AI might be about 20%. A human can almost be close to 60 to 70%, where it's doing really well, and about a 30 to 35% error rate. So it still beats the average human. And the more sophisticated we get with the AI, the less chances for errors are going to occur, especially as these things kind of evolve and go in. And Mario and I are both knee deep in working with the developers on AI. And I can tell you, I've seen some of the great upgrades that are going to come in the next month. I've seen Retell, I've seen Accessible, I've seen a couple of other AIs. Retell is very, 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 very good. And we're messing around with it now. A lot of people are scanning this thing. This might be a hit. You might blow up your GitHub server.
Well, that's what I was going to say is follow me on GitHub, everyone, and check out the rest of my repositories, because I actually have a lot of free code, and this is where I kind of dump all of my free code for Highlevel. So I've got some, different Highlevel hacks. I've got codes for WordPress. I've got just all kinds of stuff in that GitHub. Just follow me on GitHub, and you'll have access to it. It's just a great place to, check out what I'm doing. I'll post the rest of the Retell code on there as well. So you'll see a couple more files pop up in that listing. Just go to that Mario Aldiu's Retell AI repo.
Yeah, cool. So really quick, any questions, you guys? Because we are going to keep this short today, because Mario literally is like a no sleep, but we promised we deliver that. He went over it in full details. We show you how to connect the webhook on the last one. So more importantly, any questions before we close out in the chat? If not, we are going to do a very small Vibe Friday, but we wanted to deliver the value and wanted to make sure you guys have what you need in order to do it. But questions, we're going to give it another like 3 minutes. A lot of thank yous, Mario. So obviously this was exactly what people are looking for. But anybody, go check out Retell. Understand that Retell is now the base program that Highlevel's built under. So the same functionalities. Again, you're going to have some here, some in Retell. So Highlevel will have a set bunch that will be under Retell, but it'll be inside of our system. Retell will have its own subset that will have other features that Highlevel doesn't. So whether you're using Retell and Highlevel through Retell or Retell through Highlevel, there might be a connection that you might need, and this is going to solve a lot of your problems. Retell is a more advanced AI, so it is very good. Just like I said, I'm a big fan of Accessible. I'm a big fan of Retell, and you saw Mike go through it. You saw now Mario go through Retell, and again, you're talking to a person who's built God knows how many systems in that. I'm starting to catch up a little bit, man. I'm starting to build a few.
I'm waiting for it, brother.
I got my training wheels on.
My like office setup, dude. You gotta come keep up with my office setup.
Oh yeah. Well, I forget. We actually got to go through it. Yeah. So, but Rick, if you scan that code, that's going to take you to the GitHub repository. If you just look up, you'll see his information. You can just shorten it and go from there. And that's it. So, guys. Again, we want to wish you all a very happy Friday. Like I said, we got a lot going on. Mario just moved. We need to get him some sleep. He's burning his face literally alive for you. And just follow us along. Next week, that's exactly right. Man, the white light on you is hilarious. But with that being said,
a white guy?
Yeah, no, we haven't seen one of those yet. But with that being said, enjoy, and we'll be back next week with another Rock and Vibe Friday, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, thank you, everybody, and